Check out this mighty new machine from Trek. This is the brand new 2020 model Trek Rail. Replacing the Powerfly LT from the long travel e-bike range is this all brand new monster long travel e-bike from Trek. Two major changes for the new season. It's got 29-inch wheels and it uses the new Bosch 4th generation Performance CX motor. Those two things combined and a bunch of other new improvements could make this bike the most improved e-bike for the season in our minds, coming from the Powerfly LT, which we had mixed reviews with. So let's have a look at what exactly has changed with the brand new Trek Rail. Okay, like we said earlier, 29-inch wheels. We've seen a gradual push away from 27.5-inch plus tires on e-bikes over the last couple of years, and for good reason. Bikes are becoming easy to manage. Bikes are coming down in size in the geometry and the steering, so 29-inch wheels are becoming easy to handle on these big travel bikes. The Performance CX motor, the 4th generation one from Bosch, this thing is half the size, significantly lighter. It uses a regular chainring, and what that means for Trek is you can push that main pivot right back up into the center of the bike, decreasing the length of the chainstays dramatically. This bike over the Powerfly LT drops a whopping 27 millimeters off the chainstay length alone. 475 mils was very long for the Powerfly LT. The Rail, 27 mils off that, feels significantly more agile and a lot easier to ride. 29-inch wheels, shorter rear end, full carbon frame, carbon seat stays and chain stays, and a brand new 625 watt-hour battery. So going from a 500 to a 625, the range is increased big time. Trek have gone with a 44 mil offset fork at 160 mils of travel and 150 mils out the back. From a distance, the Rail looks a lot like the Trek Slash, their long travel 29er enduro bike, and for good reason. This follows many design cues and very similar suspension characteristics to the Slash. We're now using a reactive rear shock. We've got the Mino link adjustment, we've got the ABP at the back, we've got all those classic Trek suspension features. Okay, let's talk about frame geometry for a second. This thing, yes, like we said, 27 mils shorter in the back end. The bottom bracket drops a whopping 19 millimeters also in height. We've got a 1.5 degrees slacker head angle than the Powerfly LT, and it is longer, between 11 and 27 mils longer in reach depending on the frame size. Plenty of nice small touches to take a closer look at. The integration of the speed sensor is now on the disc rotor, not a crappy old magnet sitting on the spokes. We've got a super low seat tube, lots of standover height, and also enables a longer dropper seat post if you wish. It uses the RIB, removal internal battery system that we've seen in the past. With just the key, you can pop the battery out, carry it inside to charge, remove it off the bike for anti-theft protection, and traveling without the battery inside the bike, it makes it a lot easier to lift onto a bike rack or other sort of transport. It is a very smart looking bike. Trek have even managed to convince RockShox to make them a specific oversized crown, so that the massive chunky crown really integrates well into the whopping tubes which houses the battery, so it all looks very chunky and almost makes a lyric, which is typically a large fork, look narrow in diameter. This is a very overbuilt and large looking frame, but has a nice clean silhouette, and we really appreciate how the clean lines make this bike look not too e-bikey at all. The new Bosch CX motor is a massive improvement over the last one. The previous version used a small 15-tooth driver instead of a large classic sort of chainring. What that meant is inside there was another additional gearbox, which created a lot of drag when you pedal. So you'd get to that 25k an hour cutoff point and you'd be sitting on that limiter, and you would feel when the power cut out and you were on your own stint because there was a lot more drag. This system, while it is a bit clunkier and noisier when you're rattling over the rough terrain, is incredibly smooth and drag-free. You can turn the bike off and it really does pedal with a lot less resistance that we're expected from an e-bike. It still uses the Purion display on the Rail 9.8 model, which in our minds isn't ideal. It's a large display. It definitely points out the fact it's an e-bike. It's right up here in your face and is vulnerable in the incident of a crash, and it's just a bit clunky. So how does it go on the trails? Well, It's a lighter bike, a lot easier to manage, and it can handle harder riding, also lighter riding because it is a lighter and more nimble bike. So it's just widened up its scope, big time. And we climbed up some incredibly steep downhill tracks and bombed straight back down them again. It is so much easier to handle than the Powerfly LT, mainly just due to that chainstay length. You just don't feel like you're such a passenger. The new rail really solidifies itself up in the top echelon of e-bikes against the Specialized Levo and the Norco VLT and the Merida E160 with the new wheel size, better geometry overall, lighter frames, longer range batteries. Definitely, it's a good time for Trek on e-bikes. Thank you for watching. Jump over to flowmountainbike.com for more thoughts and images, information on the brand new Trek rail. Cheers. Ow.